Greetings, YouTube. The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons, and welcome back to the channel that brings power gaming to the next level. Today on the Doctor's Spell Prognosis, we are talking about the spell Power Word Heal. This is not really one that's been around forever in the game. It's a newer one, and we're giving it a B. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know when I have another video out. All right, this one is pretty short and sweet. It is available for Bards with an asterisk, and we're going to go over that. Some of the comments below here are, why the heck does the cleric not have this spell? That was posted a while ago, 4 years ago, and they finally added it in. They did add it as a cleric option in the optional class features that come from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Xanthar's Guide to Everything. So there it is right there. Power Word Heal as a 9th level spell. So really the question that we have to ask is this: are you getting the most value out of this if you take this as your 9th level spell, because you are only getting one 9th level spell slot? So do you get the most bang for your buck out of this? All right, so this is a pretty short, simple, and sweet spell. 9th level spell has a casting time of 1 action, a range of touch, verbal and somatic components. And there's no attack or saving throw. So a wave of healing energy washes over the creature you touch. The target regains all its hit points. And so there are diminishing returns on this. That is, if you use this spell on something that is missing 10% of their hit points, you have just essentially wasted a 9th level spell. So that is no good. So you don't... There's some statistics that you need to figure out with this. So if the creature is charmed, frightened, paralyzed, or stunned, the condition ends. And this is one of the few things that can get rid of stunning. So, and we did go over Power Word Stun, which is a pretty effective thing to do. So this will instantly get rid of all that. If the creature is prone, it can use its reaction to stand up. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs. So I think the best use of this spell is when a creature is in the dying condition. That is, they have 0 hit points and they are dying. They immediately go up to full hit points and they stand up from prone. And so they get their turn. They don't have to worry about any of that. Alternatively, if you have one of these conditions and you cannot get rid of it, then, if all else is going to fail and it's between a total party kill and using this spell, then I would use this spell. So the base spell is usable by Bards, but as we have seen, Clerics can also use it as one of the optional features. So some pros for this spell is it gets rid of a lot of different conditions. That's one. It raises something's hit points up to full instantly. That's 2. And if it stands prone, it stands up from prone, that's 3. Some cons for this spell: it's touch. So you are going to have to touch something. And it doesn't affect, obviously, undead and constructs. So those are things it can. Now, as far as Bards go, I do want to look at, this is the list of Bards, and essentially Bards themselves. So let's go back over here, and we'll come back to this cleric one. But I do want to look at this thing that Bards have. So Bards get magical secrets again at 18th level. And when they have some additional spells too out of some of these optional Bard spell lists. So when they get magical secrets, they choose 2 spells from any class, including this one, and they can choose up to 9th level. Now this is on their list, but they're only getting 1 9th level spell slot as a Bard. So these are the base 9th level spells for a bard, but essentially a bard can take any spell at 9th level. So would you really take Power Word Heal as a bard? Bards kind of have that utility, and they don't have the utility, whereas they can be, I'm not going to say combat, but they're combat support. So if any of you are familiar with any of these military terms, combat is like infantry. Combat support are things like artillery, where, it's an indirect fire. That's kind of the bard. The bard is combat support, where they are going to be able to affect the enemy directly, like an artillery shell does, but they're doing it from afar, and they're not up in the face of the enemy doing hand-to-hand combat like an infantry unit would be. And things like Power Word Heal would be combat service support, whereas it doesn't really affect the enemy. It acts as a force multiplier for the party, but it doesn't actually affect the enemy directly in some way. Bringing somebody up to full supports the overall party and your allies, but it doesn't do anything to the enemy other than that person can now do things. It's kind of indirect. So, but like things like Power Word Kill, which we're gonna go over, and True Polymorph, Psychic Scream, all those Mass Polymorph, all those things can affect enemies. Plus, they can also get other spells because of magical secrets, so they could be choosing Meteor Swarm and things like that. So I don't think that this one for bards makes sense. Now, that is to say that there is another class that gets this, and of course, that's the cleric, and the cleric gets it from their alternate list of additional cleric spells, and the list of 9th level spells for clerics is not hot. It's not great. We're going to talk about True Resurrection, not one of my favorite spells. I think it is very inefficient. We've already talked about Mass Heal, and this one's a good one. It gets rid of blind and deafness, and it'll do multiple creatures at range 700 hit points, so it could possibly bring the whole party up. So it just depends on what kind of healer you want to be. You restore hit points with Mass Heal. With Power Word Heal, you regain hit points. So there is that. I mean, but you're going to regain all your hit points. So it's whether you want to have that one-off where you could bring something from 0 all the way up to full hit points, or you want to have this in your back pocket as a cleric to get rid of these conditions. Again, stunned condition is a very hard one to get rid of and can be very devastating to the party. And so you may want to have that there. But again, Mass Heal might be it's probably the better option in many different instances versus Power Word Heal. Gate is kind of okay. Astral Projection's just kind of okay. The list of cleric spells is not hot. And so I would say it's a toss-up between Mass Heal or Power Word Heal, depending on what you're doing as the cleric. Doesn't make sense to me for Bard. That's unless you're like a super Healy support Bard, but other than that, I don't really see. I see other options for the Bard that are, you get more bang for your buck, you get more value out of those. All right, that is what I have for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.